The moment Patricia Harlow snatched my ID from my hand, I knew this was going to be one of those afternoons. She held it up to the sunlight like she was checking for watermarks, squinting at my perfectly legitimate driver's license with suspicion usually reserved for counterfeit bills.
"Nice try," she said.
"But you're not on our approved resident list." I was standing in my own driveway, arms full of groceries, ice cream melting in the July heat. Behind Patricia, 2 HOA volunteers stood like bodyguards. One wore orange Crocs with socks. The other had cargo shorts and a walkie-talkie. What Patricia didn't know was that Robert Mitchell, the man whose ID she held, wasn't just a new neighbor. I was the director of the state HOA Oversight and Ethics Committee.
After my divorce, I wanted quiet.
Pine Valley Estates looked perfect. I didn't realize it came with a tyrant in khaki shorts. Within 2 days of moving in, Patricia knocked on my door holding a clipboard. "Mr. Mitchell, your lawn's gradient exceeds community standards. It's at least 5.5%. She handed me a pamphlet titled Slopes That Keep Us Safe. The next week I got violation notices for trash bins not facing magnetic north, curtains not summer appropriate, and my car being parked at a psychologically aggressive angle. When I attended my first HOA meeting, Patricia refused to let me speak. "You're not verified in our system," she said. "Guests can't address the board." A day later, she blocked my mailbox with cones, claiming pending verification. Now, standing in the heat while she held my ID hostage, she said, "You need to vacate before I call the real authorities." "You can't take my ID," I replied. "It's not theft if it's for community security," she snapped. Chad, her assistant, waved a grocery scanner over it.
"No match," he said.
"Definitely unauthorized." I set down my groceries, hit record on my phone, and asked, "You're confiscating my identification because your personal database doesn't recognize me?"
She puffed up proudly.
"Exactly." That's when I decided she needed a real investigation. That night, I filed an ethics complaint, Article 19B, abuse of HOA power and misappropriation of identification. Patricia, unaware she'd just targeted the state director himself, escalated. She issued fake notices about ORA violations and non-compliance radiation. Then she held a community safety meeting about the stranger in Unit 47. 48 hours later, the state oversight team flagged Pine Valley for audit. 3 investigators arrived at the next HOA meeting in navy polos and badges. The lead investigator, Diane Chun, said, "We're here regarding multiple violations of state HOA codes. This meeting is now under review."
Patricia stammered.
"We run a tight ship."
"That's the problem," Diane said.
"Confiscating an ID is a federal offense."
I stood up.
"Actually, I'd like my ID back, Patricia."
Everyone turned.
Diane added, "The complaint was filed by Robert Mitchell, director of the state HOA Oversight and Ethics Committee."
Patricia's mouth fell open. "I moved here for peace," I said.
"Instead, I've been harassed, blocked from mail, and accused of impersonating myself." "You never said who you were," Patricia whispered.
"I tried," I replied.
"You wouldn't verify me." The investigation that followed destroyed her little empire. Patricia had invented her own bylaws, spiritual lawn maintenance, aura-based parking zones. She fined residents for cheerful garden gnomes and created a WhatsApp group called Enforcement Eagles where she mocked homeowners. The audit showed she'd spent HOA funds on a Bahamas cruise labeled leadership training. The database Chad used to scan IDs?
Completely fake.
At the emergency meeting, residents packed the room. Diane read from her report, "Pine Valley Estates HOA is in violation of 37 state regulations. Effective immediately, the board is dissolved."
Patricia shot up.
"You can't do this. I've kept order." "You've ruled like a monarch," Diane replied. Then came the verdict. Patricia Harlow was permanently banned from any HOA role, fined $47,000 for misuse of funds and false authority. Her ID theft charge went to the DA, carrying up to 3 years in jail. Patricia's face drained of color.
3 years, she whispered. Diane nodded.
As neighbors cheered, Patricia slumped, clutching her clipboard.
"I'll lose my house," she murmured.
"Maybe you should have thought of that before weaponizing your clipboard," I said. The final blow came when Diane announced, "Robert Mitchell has agreed to serve as interim board president during restructuring." Patricia let out a broken laugh.
"Of course he has."
As residents thanked me and shared stories of her reign, Patricia sat frozen, staring at the fine notice. The last thing I heard before leaving was her muttering,